And welcome you all to another Deviant.fun's review. This time we've got Spider-Man, a very classic story arc by Millar, illustrated by Terry Dodson and Frank Cho. So just to summarize, in this arc, Peter Parker or Spider-Man is faced with someone behind the curtains who knows his secret identity and turns his life into hell, reenacting some of the worst moments that Peter Parker and Spider-Man have gone through in the past. So let's skip on to a live through, and I'll be reviewing it as we go through it. See you. Okay, so the book starts with a fight between the Green Goblin and Spider-Man, which ends up on Spider-Man beating the crap out of the Green Goblin and sending Norman Osborn to jail. And after that, well, Peter Parker takes quite a beating too, so he's very hurt and etc. But okay, it seems like his life is just a little bit better with that great menace behind bars. But then bad things start happening, starting with his uncle's grave being vandalized, broken, shattered to pieces. And then he gets a phone call through his Aunt May's phone, and he just answers Aunt May, and from the other side he just hears "not even close, Spider-Man," and then there's someone in the dark, in the shade, talking to him, and we won't know who it is quite until the end of the book. So Peter Parker just goes nuts, and we see him flying like Superman without even dressing his costume, because it's Aunt May, right? Aunt May's in danger, so he really loses his control. This is a book where you don't see Spider-Man cracking jokes. It exploits everything that I love in a good Spider-Man story, which is Peter Parker having trouble with his life. Of course, it's not high school anymore. He teaches by the time this book depicts. Is a teacher at the school where he studied before. But if there's something that Peter Parker always treasured the most, was his family, and losing Gwen Stacy also, so losing people that he loves, that's the biggest fear he has, and that's what's exploited thoroughly in this book, and very well exploited. So Peter is absolutely clueless on how to find Aunt May. He doesn't know who took her. He doesn't know how to find her. He has no clues. He talks to Black Cat to help him, but she won't be of much help either. So he gets so desperate that he goes and talks to Norman Osborn, because he's a genius. He knows the crime scene as no one else, so he might have some info. That's how desperate he gets. He humiliates himself in front of Norman, who gets a kick out of it, seeing him beg for information. And so after getting nothing from Norman Osborn, he just rampages the streets looking for answers. And by this time, he's not being seen as the neighborhood-friendly hero. There's some untrust on him. So he remembers the Avengers because there are people with psychic powers there that could trace Aunt May. Shield could also help him, but he's never had much sensibility in what comes to dealing with the Avengers. So it just rampages through the mansion, and things do not go very well. So he gets a lead into talking with the owl. The owl is by this time replacing Kingpin, who's been put out of play. But he gets a clue. He says that Electro is behind it and the Vulture is behind it, and so Spider-Man goes on a rampage to find those two and kick the hell out of them and ask for Aunt May. He does eventually find out that they aren't the ones who have her Aunt May is being played with, and he just did what someone else wanted him to do. So there's a lot of manipulation here. So Peter Parker is so desperate that he can't see or think clearly, not even with his suit on. He just thinks of his Aunt May. Various times during this book, he will face imminent death, like in this scene where he's in the hospital and the Vulture comes in to finish the job. But he manages to escape barely. But this won't be the only situation where that happens. So Black Cat does help Spidey, not as much as to find Aunt May, but to help him fight the villains that are coming in his way. And then something weird happens. He witnesses Dr. Octo Octavius rampaging through the city, looking like he's out of his mind, just destroying everything and not acting like himself. And then a special unit brings him down with tranquilizers, and they take him away. And he gets to know that he was subjected to some kind of experiment with some kind of drug, and so he goes back to Norman Osborn, who knows something about it but doesn't tell much. Doesn't tell much about that. But in the end, then there's another episode here that you might know. There's a big auction for the evil guys, and Spider-Man knows of it, but he can't deal with that because he's occupied looking for his aunt. But something very special is being auctioned, and it will play some part in the history too later on. Then this is some more emotional moments related to him having beaten the Vulture and then feeling bad for having done that, because there were some good reasons behind what the Vulture was doing with Electro. Beneath the bad that he's stealing, there was a noble cause. Then, as you see, Venom comes in play. It's a different Venom. You can see that it's a very different Venom. But enough about that. Don't want to spoil too much thing. Apart from that, so if Peter wasn't in a bad situation, he then finds out that he's completely broke and that Mary Jane has been hiding it from him, so because he has so much on his plate. So he has to go back to Joe Jonah Jameson and try to get some money. He then finally meets the guy that has been phoning him and discovers his identity, but he knows that he's not the one who's orchestrating the whole thing, the whole madness that's striking him. And weeks pass, and Aunt May is still missing. Peter is more and more desperate and more clueless, and once again he returns to Norman Osborn, and Norman says that he's been targeted to be assassinated, and so he proposes a deal to Spider-Man in exchange for helping him and finding his Aunt May. Of course, it's Norman Osborn. Spidey, you shouldn't trust his word, but he's desperate, right? So he does all the wrong things. It takes all the bad decisions. And yeah, so the Green Goblin is out again. You can see him. I don't know if this is Frank Cho's work or Troy Dodson, but yeah, it's a great representation of the Green Goblin. Yeah, so things. This is pretty much all the story. The rest, telling you anymore, will be spoilers. Maybe Aunt May is saved, maybe it is not. Probably you've read this story already because this dates from 2004 to 2006, and it was collected and printed in 2010 in this edition. So it collects the 3 volumes of Marvel Knights Spider-Man by Mark Millar. This is a great story, I think. I really enjoyed reading it again. It hasn't aged badly like so many stories. It really feels modern, very well paced. So much torment around Peter. We see him so. I don't remember a story where Peter was so lost, and yeah, so completely lost and in fear of losing everything that he holds dear, because he has lost a lot already, too much for his account. So, if you didn't get it by now, huge recommendation. If you don't know this story arc, then don't. What are you waiting for? You can buy it with us at Deviant.fun.biz. Otherwise, well, just read it in any way you can. And remember, you can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Please subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos like this. We put out lots of them regularly. And if you like the video, hit the like button. That helps. And if you want to leave comments, be free to do it. We like talking with you. So until the next video, I do hope you're having enjoyable and great reads like I've been having in the past few days. And yeah, that's all I can wish you. So stay safe, stay well, and see you in the next time soon. Bye bye.